and even my favorite is Alex Ferguson of the Manchester United Club. Now, this city is also home to my research center, Computational Real Estate Research Center, and my center is currently responsible for driving Metaverse application in Scotland. We've been awarded different grants, and one of them is the one with the British Council, which I'll be traveling sometime next year to teach some guys in China about Metaverse application, its investment in Metaverse. Like I said earlier on, today we'll be discussing basically is just applications of what we've been doing with Metaverse for the construction industry for almost a year now. I'll also be showing you some projects we are partnering with some other guys across Europe. So like I said earlier on, just give me 20 minutes of your time, kind of off any distraction so that you can get a full grasp of what we'll be discussing. Now let's go on, guys. Now, from our research, we've seen that most people always confuse Metaverse as meaning virtual reality. When you tell anybody about Metaverse, it's either they're saying it's virtual reality or it's Facebook. You know, recently Mark Zuckerberg changed his Facebook to Meta, but that is not Metaverse. Although virtual reality is a component in the Metaverse, virtual reality is like the forefront of the Metaverse. The whole idea of the Metaverse came from a novel by Neil Stephenson, a 1992 novel. He called it Metaverse, like an alternative world, a virtual world related to the physical world. Metaverse came from the term meta in Greek and verse, which means universe. Now, to further confirm my opinion that virtual reality has been existing even since 1991, let me show you guys a video about virtual reality. Now, this is virtual reality in 1991. It was first developed by scientists in England. Now, that is the concept regarding virtuality. You need to be in another world, but that other world is not self-sustaining. Now, let me use another explanation for Metaverse. I'm so sure most of you that are from Nigeria, you'll be familiar with this, or most of you that watch African films. And when you see this woman, you know it's about to go down. And if you see her in your dreams, I'll just say you should just wake up or do something. Now, what happened is most of these films, you see that they're either trying to give you something to eat. And when I was growing up back then in Nigeria, it's always sweet. The concept is don't take sweet from strangers. If you take sweet from strangers, you will transport into another world. Now, for you to transport into another world, the sweet, you need what we call a gadget. In this case, is the MetaQuest, a virtual reality glass, which you see the video I showed you earlier on. Now, this is MetaQuest 3. This is what I use in my lab. There are different kind of this same similar gadgets, the virtual reality glasses. I'm familiar with this. There's Vision Pro and all that. Now, what you use this for is to transport into the virtual world, to teleport into the virtual world. Like I used the example of the suite. Now, I'm so sure most of you that are from Africa, when you see this kind of tree, you understand what it means. Now, this is like the virtual world. In this world, you can relate with some virtual elements, but this is not the metaverse. This is just virtual reality. Now, the main difference between this and the metaverse is in this virtual reality, what you are relating with is very different from the physical world, from the real world, in the sense that whatever happens to you in this virtual world will not happen to you in the physical world. Now, the metaverse is a connection of the physical world in the virtual reality. Now, let me go further. I'm so sure some of you have watched these films. Some of these films, especially this film. I remember growing up in Nigeria watching this film back then, always watching it at night. It always bring the fear. Now, if you look at this film, most of the time they summon somebody and they probably shoot you or something. Then in the physical world, that thing happens. Now, that is an example of, that is what metaverse is all about. And this is what I'll explain this. This is what we use. This is a meta horizon word. Now, in this world, if you look at that avatar, we are collaborating. What we are doing in this world will affect us in the physical world. I will explain this in some couple of minutes. So in that case, metaverse is a self-sustaining, virtually enhanced physical reality. The self-sustaining key there is you can be in this world to earn either income in terms of your avatar production or either enhanced value. Now, the key thing about metaverse is it supports social interaction and ownership in the virtual world. Now, the previous world, when it comes to virtual reality, you cannot own that virtual reality. You do not have any right of entitlement to that virtual world. That is the key difference between virtual reality and the metaverse. Now, let's look at some other definitions when it comes to metaverse. Now, there are three key definitions. I just picked them online, Wikipedia, Investopedia, and my own definition. Now, if you look at Wikipedia, they will tell you it's an hypothesized iteration of internet supporting persistent online 3D virtual environments, as well as virtual and augmented reality headsets. Now, the shortcoming regarding this definition is you can enter into the metaverse without using that headset. You can use your computer to enter into the metaverse. I'll give you an example of that as we proceed. Now, another popular definition is by Investopedia. Now, Investopedia just look at metaverse as opportunity for social angle. But my definition, or the way from our research over 2 years, we've seen that a metaverse is a self-sustaining economy built in a virtual world. Now, the key pillars for the metaverse or the key technologies are extended reality, Web 3.0, blockchain, and a computer interface. Now, what that computer interface does is that virtual and augmented glasses. Now, the extended reality is now a function of the virtual reality. Now, metaverse also support unlimited number of users. And there's an opportunity for you to earn money, which is key, which is what I want you guys to take home from this discussion this evening. I'll be explaining different ways to earn physical income from the metaverse, what we've been doing from our research center. Now, moving forward, let's look at the term extended reality. Now, extended reality is an umbrella term used to define virtual reality, mixed reality, and augmented reality. Now, let me use an example what you guys might relate to. Just like the way most Nigerians call soda drink Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is like the umbrella name for all soda drink, all soft drinks. Now, that is what extended reality is. Extended reality is a name for augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality. Now, virtual reality is what I've explained earlier on, a full immersive digital environment. Now, augmented reality and mixed reality are very similar. I'll show you a video in some couple of minutes. Augmented reality means we are putting a digital world on a virtual world. Now, mixed reality is now the ability for you to relate with the physical world in a virtual world. Now, this is my PhD students, and this is our mini lab. This is where most of the magic happens. Now, what you are seeing in your front here is just an augmented reality. This is just an augmented reality. In some couple of minutes, I will enter the realm of the virtual reality. Now, that's what I'm entering now. I'll create a boundary where I'll be able to work within the virtual reality in some couple of minutes. Now, I'm in the virtual world. This is the virtual reality. Now, I'll step out from this virtual reality and show you an example of mixed reality. Now, I'll be showing you an example of mixed reality using a video game. Now, the shortcoming or the challenges when it comes to Metaverse, which we'll discuss in some couple of minutes, is it's currently still in the developmental stage, and most of the development are still experienced when it comes to gaming. Now, this is an example of a mixed reality game. This is just a game where we just used to relax in the lab after an hard days of trying to do some computation. In some couple of minutes, you see me interacting with my physical space in the virtual world. Let me try and fast forward it. Now you see the ceiling breaking down. This is now the realm of the mixed reality. This is now the situation where I'm now in the mixed reality. And some people see me using my gun to kind of paint my office in different colors. If you see those blocks, if I move further a little bit, I'll open that stuff and bring out a gun. I'm relating in the virtual world in the physical world. So now this is mixed reality. Now, what I'm saying in a nutshell is, with the virtual reality, the mixed reality, augmented reality, all comes together to form extended reality. Then the question is, where do the metaverse come in? Now, the metaverse comes in the middle. Remember I said earlier on, metaverse is made up of extended reality, blockchain, and Web 3.0. Now, all those things come together to form the metaverse. The metaverse is sweet in the middle. That is where the metaverse is. Now, and that is the popular misconception regarding the metaverse. That is why some people see the metaverse as just virtual reality. Now, let's talk about blockchain. Now, I'm so sure most of you understand the concept of blockchain. Blockchain in the metaverse function as the accountant of the metaverse. Remember, we said the metaverse is a self-sustaining system. Now, a self-sustaining system means people will be coming and going. People will either try to make money, do some economic activities, buying and selling. Now, for us to buy and sell, we need an accountant. And that accountant is the blockchain, which operates on a decentralized basis. Now, also, the blockchain is used to create what we call NFTs, non-fungible tokens. We'll be discussing that in some couple of minutes. Another important component of the metaverse is Web 3.0. Now, Web 3.0 comes from the idea of we move through 3 stages. We move through Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. Now, in the Web 1 is when we have the static web. Those are the first generation of browsers. In this Web 1, we are just interested in getting information from the internet. The internet just developed for us to just get information, just get our news. Now we move towards Web 2. Now, Web 2 is what we call the interactive web. In this period, that is when you witness the rise of Facebook. That is when we witness the rise of Instagram, MySpace. That was early 2000. Now we are in the stage of Web3. Now remember we said Metaverse is a self-sustaining economy. That economy needs to be hosted in a place. Web3 is where we host the Metaverse. Now, Web3 is the land on which the Metaverse is built on. That is just the way I want you to look at Web3. Now, in this Web3, we do not just only read and write the internet. We also have an opportunity to own a portion of the internet. I'll be explaining that when we start talking about investments, land investment in the Metaverse in some couple of minutes. Now, this leads to what we call the Metaverse layer. Now, this is an example of the Metaverse layer. At the foundation of the layer is the Web3, the internet. Now, the second foundation is the blockchain, the infrastructure layer. The infrastructure layer is the blockchain, which I said is the accountant. Then the third layer is the content layer, mostly video games, like I said, like I showed you the video games. But for today's meeting, today's seminar, I'll be explaining how my research center has replaced the video game to construction applications. Then the last layer where everybody always confused, as meaning the metaverse, is the virtual space. Guys, if there's anything you guys should take from this meeting today, from my discussion with Metaverse across different boards, last week I was presenting this to some students in England, is the misconception regarding virtual space as Metaverse. Now, this is very key for me because I also see this in another of our research, which is Construction 4.0 or Industry 4.0. While in Johannesburg, I was the foundation, or my research was the foundation for Construction 4.0 in 2018. We discovered that most people also just think that robotics is Construction 4.0. It's more than that. The same thing, virtual reality is not the metaverse. Now, this metaverse has disrupted different industries. One of them is the social media, gaming, marketing. But my favorite one of them is country diplomacy. Later on, you can watch this YouTube link and see Barbados now as a diplomacy. They have created an opportunity for you to be a citizen of Barbados on the metaverse. Now, having said all that, let's narrow in on the construction industry because that is the basics for today's meeting. Now, I don't need to describe or define what is the construction industry for this seminar. From what I find out, majority of you are either from quantity surveying, building, and all that. So what we did was to apply metaverse for the construction industry. We did our research. The first thing we did was to try and get the trending discussion in the metaverse. So we conducted a bibliometric analysis. Now, for the bibliometric analysis, there are different tools for you to use. The popular one is VoxViewer, but for my research center, there's something called BiblioShiny. It's one on how programming or bibliometries. So we use that to get the trending topics. Now, if you look at the trending topics, we looked at research publication from 2004 to current year 2024. And we subject it to a BiblioShiny app and we get the trending topics. Now, if you look at this chart, you see that one of the trending topics obviously is BIM. If you scroll down, the next thing you see is safety. Now, the rest are just COVID, literature, risks, impact, and all that. Now, the reason why these words are there is when we source our articles or publications from Web of Science, we did not do any cleaning because we just want to get the true value of the data. Having checked that, we checked out what words are they using in those articles over time. Now, that is a word frequency analysis. Now, from the word frequency analysis, we also discover that what everybody is talking about, for this one, we push it back a little bit. We started from 1981. We see that everybody has been talking about safety. If you look at this construction industry, these are just other words, buzzwords in the construction industry. But the key thing then is safety. So we're pushing further, and this is one of the reasons why I like the bibliometrics on BiblioShiny app, is ability to conduct what I call a thematic analysis. We're pushing further again because we want to know where we should drive in, where in the construction industry will Metaverse work the most. Now, on this, we also saw different words, but the most unique words are construction workers' mental health, mental safety. There was safety almost everywhere. So we pull down again, dig down in. From that factor analysis, we look at the most relevant words. Obviously, it was safety again. So when we've seen this together, we pushed through and we got awarded a grant to look at the application for Metaverse in construction safety. So from our research analysis, there's something we've seen. Most applications or most articles that have talked about construction safety, everybody is always saying construction workers have high tendency to get injured on site. There's numerous accidents on site. In short, a lot of research has been done on it. For regardless of those research, we've seen that safety is still an issue on site. It's just like this picture. For us, we see safety like salary and occupational hazards like fuel, bread, and meat. We see that whereas all those occupational hazard keeps going and construction safety is just there. One of the research, which this is my own research when it comes to construction safety, this was the foundation of our Metaverse application for construction safety. This was my research back in South Africa 2020. Now, the idea for this research back then was I have an idea of trying to create what we call a proactive approach towards safety. So I came up with RFID monitoring of Professor Clinton and Professor Oke. So what we come up with, this is the proof of concept. If you look at this video, this is the map on site, and these are actual workers on site. So what we did was, the idea was create an RFID, radio frequency identification. So radio frequency identification, RFID, contains the reader and a tag. So we put what we call on this guy is a reader, a tag on this guy, sorry, and there's a reader, which is a phone, which is on the other side. So we discover that as these guys are moving on this side, this is what is happening here. So the whole idea for this research back then was to be able to monitor workers on site. We want to be able to monitor workers on site and see that when they're going towards a place which is risky on site, we'll be able to interfere. Now, in 2020, this was a nice research. I remember this research getting me nominated for the best conference paper back then in IUM and CIDB. But this research had numerous shortcomings. Now, one of the shortcomings back then was we were predicting we want to monitor people before they get into the accidents. Now, I remember discussing this with a professor I met in a conference center, and he said, what we are trying to do is like a baby that is playing with a fire. We are trying to say, let's monitor this baby before he puts his hand in the fire. But why don't we let us allow the baby put his hand in that fire, get burnt, and that is the best lesson. We've discovered that this research has numerous problems apart from data, but the fact that people will still have accident on site because they've not known the repercussion of that. This research was like trying to put the cat before the horse. That was the shortcoming. So from this, we decided to come up with our metaverse application. So what we did was to go on a site. Now, this take us for over 6 months. We get a construction site. This is an active construction site in Edinburgh. The first 3 months, we did what we call site safety analysis. The site safety analysis, we checked different hazards on site. And these are the major hazards on site, indicated in red. So from this hazard on site, we created this site in the virtual world. Now, this is now what we use to train construction workers. Now, let me show you the virtual world. Now, this is that site I just showed you earlier on. This is the site in the virtual world. So what the training is all about is the ability to move in this virtual world. This is me moving in the virtual world. The training is the ability to ensure that the construction workers should be able to identify the hazards. Now, I'm going to try towards the right-hand side, towards the first hazard on site. Now, one of the first hazards on site is this from our site analysis. So we use this to ensure that workers on this site recognize the hazard on site. Now, let me go to the second hazard on site. Now, the second hazard on site is also on the ground floor, beside this power plant. Then the ability to be able to, one of the requirements for this training is to be able to identify the hazard. I've identified the hazard. Next, I'm teleporting to the roof, the ceiling. So I'll still go to the ceiling now, but I need to go back a little bit and try and go to the roof. If I couldn't get there, so I decided to just go to the staircase. Yes, this is me trying to get my way. Now, this is the third hazard of site. Now, the interesting thing about this training is you can literally die on this site. And when you die on this site, then that means game over. Then you'll be graded automatically. So now what I want to do now is trying to get myself injured on site. So I want to try and get close to this guy to hit me on my head to try and get injured on site. It's still going back. Now, I'm falling down on site. Now you see me looking at the crane. So then it goes to this. Now, this is the scoreboard. This is what we are now using to rate. Now, I've gotten 65%. Now, this research took us almost a year to finish this. Now, from this research, we've discovered this. The falls on sites have been eliminated. What we did was we divided the construction workers on this side into two groups. There are some group that we train with this virtual reality. And there are some group that we train traditionally. Traditionally means we just take them on site, we tell them, this is your adult, these are these risks on this site, go on site. We discovered that those that we trained using the metaverse did not experience any hazard on site throughout. Whereas those that were trained traditionally experienced different accidents on site. Now, guys, I want you guys to comment in the chat box. Now, what I've described here, construction safety in the metaverse, is this really construction safety in the metaverse, or is this just virtual reality using construction safety? I want you guys to just type yes if this is construction, if you think this is construction safety in the metaverse. And if it is not, just tell me no. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Yes. Now, I'm saying if you guys
Yes,
think
we can
this
hear
is just construction safety, can you just type yes in the comment section or in the chat? Okay, I'll paste the YouTube link in the chat. Or am I talking to myself? There's no wrong or right answer, guys. There's no wrong or right answer. Yes, 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 yes. I'm seeing yes. Yes, I'm seeing yes. I'm seeing yes. I'm seeing yes. I'm seeing yes. Yes, yes, yes. Julius said yes. Sama said yes. 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 Okay, 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 guys. Now, but most of you said yes, but that is just an element in the virtual reality. That is not really technically in the metaverse. Remember, I said the metaverse is a combination of blockchain and Web 3.0. Also, an opportunity for us to interrelate. Now, in this case, as it is, I'm the only one in this virtual world. There is no opportunity for the trainer to jump in here. Also, the only thing we are giving our trainer is just mark. There is no opportunity for us to give them an account to either earn virtual coins. Now, this is now leading to the stage 2 of our project. Now, the stage 2 of our project is now the true construction safety in the metaverse. Now, in the stage 2 of our project, which is commencing by next year, we just completed this project, which is commencing next year. Now, on the next stage, you see that virtual reality, which we've shown you guys, is just for a site. Construction sites are not the same thing. Site A will be different from site B, even if they're in the same location like Edinburgh. So the next stage is what we call, we'll create a construction site using a no-code virtual space, which will be powered by Web 3. Now, on that stage, that site I showed you earlier on, we'll be able to not just train just one construction worker. Now, with this platform, we can only train one worker at a time. On that platform, we'll be able to train more than one worker. It will look like a multiplayer game. 4 or 5 workers working on site concurrently. Now, what we use to exploit is what we call essential VR. We use it to exploit, you see that 3D models from Revit, or what some people always use interchangeably called BIM, but it's different. Revit is just a feature of BIM. So we use that to extract the design, to bridge the gap between the Revit and the VR headsets. Now, sorry? Okay. Now, that leads me to the next application of our research. Our next application of our research is when we start using BIM in the metaverse. Now, in this stage, we started using BIM in the metaverse to collaborate with our clients virtually. Now, this is an example of a just concluded work for one of our clients. This is showing the virtual building. It was designed, which is just me walking around. Now, we've designed this using Revit. So we exploit it using Sentio VR to my lens that you are seeing there. And we are giving our client opportunity. My client can also jump in, but for privacy purpose, I can show you my client. My client also jump in, and we inspect these together. Now, another way still on that is the interior design. Now, for this, we use it to simulate. This is the inside of that building. This is the interior of that building I just showed you earlier. We use this to simulate the building itself. Now, this I was trying to show my clients when it comes to fire safety in the building. I can respond to fire safety. Now, this is just me walking around, just showing the interior. It's just like your traditional Apple Watch. I can use it to either make some calls and make some measurements to show my client that the true measurement on the plan is also the measurement that they are seeing now. This is me trying to set up the emergency alarm. Now, in some couple of minutes, this is a simulation. We simulated the fire burning the building down. So I'm trying to call for emergency to do a simulation, how many minutes it will take to call for emergency, should in case there's a fire outbreak. And the reason why we keep focusing on safety, fire safety, is because of what we've seen from our research when it comes to virtual reality. Now, because of time, I want to push towards other aspects of this.
Let's just hold on. I think we lost Doc. Maybe network connection. He'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Yeah, he will be back soon. We just spoke with him. He'll be back soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, while we wait for Doctor to join us, Network Snag, from what he has said so far, Metaverse seems like a very, very interesting topic, especially the aspect where they have been able to design buildings, design a building, created, do I say, digital scenarios of how things should be, typical scenarios of how it will likely be, and how the clients can equally come in, and it's more or less like it's a simulation to an inspection of what you've done by clients without both of you actually visiting the site, but from the comfort of your space. You are safe wherever you are, and you can see things as they actually are. Get to make whatever alterations or corrections or inputs to either modify or make things better. And at the end of the day, discover that it's actually making things safe for everybody. Yes, where things are gradually going to, one may not necessarily have to visit the site. If all this technology actually are commercialized, once they're available in the open market and everybody gets a hold of it, then it actually reduces the safety that has been discovered from the work they did. And I guess a lot of people equally caught up to the blockchain aspect, which the blockchain aspect, the video gaming parts, the virtual space, and the Web 3.0. Lightning Web 3.0 to land on which the metaverse is being built. So that was just a little refresher on what he has done so far. And let's hope his network gets sorted out soon so that we can get the concluding part of this seminar. Thank you for waiting.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. Thank you for sharing your own view about it. I don't know if another person too would like to share his or her own view as regards what they've been able to take away from his presentation.
Just a little extra. We don't really need to wait till the end of the session before we drop our questions. If you notice, there was a comment dropped as regards the YouTube link when he talked about the diplomacy parts. So whatever questions you have, please, you can start dropping them on the chat box. At least that will help to tidy things up and help to prepare ahead. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Then we also created the office of the director of finance. Mr. Thomas Fregene, can you tell us what you've taken away so far from the lecture?
Yeah, hello, good evening. Yeah, so I think so far from the presentation I was giving, the whole idea of trying to, reduce the rates of accident on site using the virtual reality training is a good one. At least before you get to the physical site, you are able to get to know exactly what to avoid and how the site is being laid out. So it will give you um, a foresight of what to do on an actual site. And I think if the solution is properly developed, where you have more um, workers interacting, it will actually is going to be a lot more realistic for the construction site, because of course you don't have just an individual working on a construction site. You have multiple people working on a construction site. So it will help to know, okay, yes, when I'm interacting with my fellow workers, what I'm supposed to look out for. Because when you're working with others, of course, there are times you might want to interact and you forget about the safety and all that. So it will enhance your foresight of working on the site
I guess
in
I guess
reality. Yeah.
I just left. Something happened.
Okay.
You're welcome back, sir.
Okay. Wow, that means I was speaking to myself. Okay. Uh, can you guys just tell me where the where you guys stopped, because I've been speaking to myself so far.
Okay, I think the scenario where you are demonstrating your clients how an emergency fire call will look like.
Oh,
Please, I hope I am not wrong. If there's any other person to correct me. Can I get confirmation from the house? Is that where we stopped?
Yes,
is that
exactly.
where we stopped?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
Thank
seeing
you.
yes. Wow, wow. Wow, I've been talking to myself
Yes, sir.
since.
That's where we stop.
Okay, okay. That is still one of the issues we have with the metaverse or internet. So let me continue now. This is just an interior for that building I showed you earlier on. Uh, it's just me in this interior. An opportunity for my clients to jump in and see the interior design for the facility. Now, this is the interior design. This is me trying to simulate safety. Now, what I'm trying to show my clients here is, should in case there's a fire outbreak. Now, from research, fire outbreak always occur where there's a lot of commercial activity. In that room is the general meeting room. So we try to create a scenario where there's a fire outbreak. Now, we could not program in the mobile phone, so we tried to program in using my phone to call up. Now, we tried to create a scenario where that place leads to the escalator. Now, that's the fire blanket. So what if that is not open? If I go from there, it's not going to open. So what should my clients do? So this scenario was trying to test the aggression when it comes to fire safety. So should in case that door can also open, probably there's a cabinet in the front. So the next thing for my clients is to break the glass. So in that building, this should be positioned there. So I use that to break the glass. Then the next thing is for me to jump in and pick up the fire extinguisher. Now, the way this is programmed is, if you cannot use the fire extinguisher, it will automatically teleport back. So now I'm trying to open it, I can't open it, then it leaves my hands and teleports back there. So these are just some of the applications we use the metaverse for. Now, the second one, which is my favorite, is collaboration. Now, the reason why this is my favorite is for those of you that worked on construction sites in Nigeria, even in South Africa, when there is site meeting, it's always like it's a blame game. Who is at fault? Who is at fault? Who is this? Who is that? Now, with this, you'll be able to bring the site into the meeting. You'll be able to collaborate seamlessly. Now, this was not done by my research center. This is already done by Meta. Now, if you have the Meta Quest 2 or Meta Quest 3, you'll be able to automatically log into what we call the Horizon World. This was developed by Mark Zuckerberg, but this is what we use this for. So there was no need for us to create any one since there's an existing software. So that is also another key for today's meeting, how to adapt a software to suit your needs. So now, when we are using that, this is an example of the Horizon World. This is me in my own space, just like you created this Microsoft Teams meeting. You can create your own virtual world in the Horizon World. Now, this is me at home. I just did this today when I was preparing for this presentation. But my system in my office gives me the ability to use my system seamlessly. Now, my system here cannot, because of the computing power is low, it should be seeing my screen on a full basis. But what the capability of this is, I'll be discussing with my clients and I'll be able to present the site drawings to them, the site activities to them in this virtual world. We'll be able to relate seamlessly. Now, this is just me trying and type and make you guys see that I can type on my laptop in the virtual world. So this is one way which we use this. Now, another way which we've developed this is reskilling. Now, we've developed different modules for reskilling, for plumbing, for electrical. Now, we are focusing more on plumbing and electrical. Now, the scaling has different bases. Now, this is base 1. This is level 1. On this level, I'm just interested in my students having the basic knowledge on how to just fix a basic sink, a wash and basin. Now, the first thing is to look at the map. Once you look at the map, there's a workbench there, which is programmed there as well. Then you follow that instruction to generate a sink. Now, the first thing is I need to drill a hole. So I pick on a driller. Now, the way this is programmed is this is stage 1, and on this stage is guided. Now, if the students drill a place that there should be no hole, the hole will not appear. Now, the hole should be there. So that is why when I drill that place, the hole will appear. Now, this is just basic 1. Now, let me move forward to when I start putting in the screws. Now, the whole idea is for me, now I'm fixing the cabinet here. Now, I'll go back and put in my automatic screw fixing. Now, this is me fixing the screw. Now, because of time, let me move forward to me fixing the sink faucet now. Now, move forward. Then I put the sink faucet. Now, once this is done, the student has passed the first stage. Now, the second stage is now to connect the pipe. Now, but let's go to electrical because of time. Now, this is the electrical, the same thing too with plumbing. The same thing too with plumbing is the first stage. This is the first stage. Now, for the electrical, we have up to 30 modules. Now, the first stage is just testing how to connect a basic fuse. Now, that is also the same pattern instruction, the workbench. Now, guys, this was done with collaboration with a registered technician here in Edinburgh. They give us the map, and so we just come up with the design. The same, so once this is done, this is the faulty outlets. So the next thing is to come up with your safety again and get that fixed. Now, this is me trying to remove that from the wall. It's telling the student that there's an opportunity for you to get electrocuted. Try to check again if there's light there. Okay, there's light, there's no light there. Then move in and get your work done. Now, once you've completed this you get to change the light bulb. Now, this is just basic stage. The more you proceed further, the more it gets difficult. So now our students' procedure gets locked down the blockchain. So on the blockchain, we get to know the student that is coming into the module, and we also get to know the student that is going to pass the module. Now let's go to, this happens to be my favorite. Now this, we created what we call a post-occupancy maintenance in the metaverse. Now this is a distribution board for a building in Glasgow. Glasgow is another major city in Scotland, outside Edinburgh anyway. Now, this was discovered from when we discovered that most commercial buildings, especially large shopping malls, always have issues with electrical components. Now, the issues always come after the developer has handed over to the user or to the existing facility manager. Now, there's always an issue regarding which DB is serving which part in the shopping mall. Now, this client came to us after they had a serious issue on their shopping mall. They had an issue with one of their distribution outlets, and they need us to kind of create a virtual training for the facility managers when they hand over. So this is me jumping into their virtual training, the DB. As usual, I'm big on safety because we discovered that one of the problems is safety. So this is just the basic requirements for you to come up with your safety before you go to their DB. Now, I'll try and move fast because of our time. Now, this is the DB, this is the distribution board. I won't be changing a lot of the stuff here because what I change here gets changed on my client side as well. Now, this is a little bit complex, so I won't be changing a lot of stuff here. So this is just one of the first which we've designed. Now, the next application, which is key for us, is logistics. Now, this is where we've been able to develop what we call the multiplayer. Now, this is just a similar logistics for a construction site to manage the supply chain. Now, if you look at this, you see that there are different people. Now, we've been able to create a multiplayer. Now, this was possible for me from recording it live on site. Now, that is somebody's work. His own is to drive that tractor. This is a virtual logistics site on site. Now, what we do with this is to monitor what is on site. Now, as those stuff are leaving the warehouse in the metaverse, is also living in the physical world. So this has helped us to prevent what we call site theft, which has always been a major problem in the construction industry. Now, we've been able to achieve true metaverse on this. Now, why this was easy is sites are always almost the same thing. Unlike construction site is always changing. Now, logistics side is always almost the same thing. So we've been able to achieve that with this. Now, the next one is property investment in the metaverse. Now, like the metaverse, there's an opportunity for you to buy a land traditionally. Now, this is going outside a little bit of our control for the research center. Now, this is what you can do, but on your own side. Now, we have a whole module on this. Probably some other time, probably next year or so, I can come back again and teach you guys on the skills in the metaverse. Now, this is one of our skills which we are using. Now, this, you can buy a parcel of land in the metaverse. Now, when I'm talking about metaverse, there are different people that have created their own metaverse platform. There's Decentraland, there's Sandbox, there's Azil Infinity, there's Upland. Now, these are the popular metaverse. We created our own as well, but our own is still limited to in-house. Now, these are popular ones. Now, on this land, you can buy your land. Now, let me try and go online. Let me show you what I'm saying. Now, let me open. Can you guys still see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Now, this is Decentraland. Now, this is a metaverse created by somebody else. Now, this is one of the most popular metaverse out there. On this, you can buy your own land. Now, but like I said, metaverse is still at the inception stage. Now, what most people still do there is gaming and all that. Now, let me go to explore. Let me go to marketplace and show you the land. Now, what most people still do on their land is just gaming and all that. Available to buy. Now, these are the lands available to buy here. Now, I have my own parcel of land, which is on my MetaMask. This land is also backed by different coins on the Ethereum site. Remember, blockchain. Now, let's go look at this land. Now, he's willing to sell his land. Now, this is his land on the Metaverse. Now, on this central land, their kind of design is a box-shaped design. This is a shopping mall, Genesis Plaza. Each plaza are named in green. Now, the closer to your land to this plaza, the more value your land is. The farther away to your plaza, the lesser the value of land is. Just the same way in the physical world. If your land is closer to a popular landmark, probably your land is closer to UJ, for those of you that are from South Africa, and for those of you that are from Nigeria, the best school in Nigeria, some of you might disagree with me, University of Lagos. If your land is closer to University of Lagos, there is a probability for your land to command more value. Also, just like in the physical world where the land is fixed, on decentral land, the land is also fixed. You cannot mine more than this. Now, the land is sold as an NFT. NFT is called a non-fungible token. Now, that land is sold using decentralized currency, Mana. Now, let me show you CoinMarketCap. Now, CoinMarketCap is a market cap showing all the major, let me filter straight and go to Metaverse, showing all the major coin for the Metaverse. Now, these are the popular Metaverse. Now, this is the decentralized land I was talking about. Now, it's supported using Mana. Just like you have your different form of cryptocurrency, the cryptocurrency for decentralized is Mana. Now, the more this is going higher, the more your land gets valued. Now, the difference between this and the physical world. Now, with the physical world, the usual concept is the next 10 years, my land should be valued more because of time appreciation. But when it comes to the metaverse, that is just a little bit different. Now, your land is being valued based on how if you buy your land in decentral land, how mana is appreciating over time. Now, also, this has developed to the stage that we have one of my students is working in this firm. We have metaverse agents now. Metaverse property. One of my students is working with these guys. Just like the same way you have your traditional agent in the real world, where you want to buy land, you go and meet them. Now, these are the virtual real estate. Now, that is also another business idea that is going up. Now, I have one of my students that is making a lot of money working in the virtual world. Now, he's a true remote worker from India. What he just do is work from home, try and get people to buy land in different places from either Decentraland, Sandbox, Somnia, or whatever. And now, if you look at this, these are some lands they are trying to sell. Just the same way, once you buy this land, they take their commission. Now, these are different ways in which the metaverse has been changing the built environment. Now, regardless of how this might be fun, how this might be interesting, it still has its own challenges, its own unique challenges. One of them, which I am personally experiencing, is high initial cost of technology adoption. For instance, in my lab, I have 3 Oculus Quest 3 Oculus Quest 3. Now, each one of them costs my institution about £600. So that is roughly close to £2,000 to just buy that. And we have to get some good computer, get some good computing power. So it costs money, initial cost. Another major challenge for us is interoperability. It's difficult for you to transfer your land on decentralized lands to Sandbox. Now, it's difficult for us to also transfer our own metaverse to either decentralized lands. So that is one of the major challenges when it comes to the metaverse. But the most important one, which we are focusing especially for us in the construction industry, for us that do not have an understanding or do not do a BSc or Masters in Computing, is skill gap, skill challenge. Now, these are some of the skills needed for you to function in the metaverse, for you to be a construction professional in the metaverse. The basic skill, when I'm presenting this some couple of years ago, I always talk about soft skills and hard skills, which one of them is communication and all that, but I just stopped focusing on that. I focus on major more hard skills. For instance, this is one of the favorite one which you should be familiar with at this stage is basic Revit for you to function in the metaverse. Another one is the extended reality development. Now, we have a training course which we are giving for our students. We are training them on extended reality using Unity and Unreal Engine. Now, this is an example for me using Unity. These things are relatively not that difficult, they're easy. You just drag and drop and create. You see those virtual worlds that I'm playing around, so it's created using Unity. Now, Unity and Unreal Engine are two similar components. One is run by C#, the other is run by C++. Just the same way you have Python and Java. But I always advise my students to start with the Unity. Unity is more easy. There's a lot of tutorial online if you want to self-teach yourself. Another basic skill is programming. Programming and scripting. And also project management and data analysis. Guys, these are some of the skills you need to be able to read this metaverse. Now, this metaverse, especially for professionals in the construction industry, is a growing field. And there's a lot of opportunity in this field, which leads me to the future. Now, this is where we are now. Before we get to the stage of the metaverse, guys, the metaverse is just all about passing information. Before we get to this stage, we pass through the radio, the television, the personal computer. The future for me is an ability for you to be able to jump into the metaverse physically. Now, this is just me thinking. So sure some of you have seen a popular movie on Netflix, it's titled Three Body Problem, where you jump into the virtual world using Neuralink. Now, there are some guys doing research on this, but this is where we are now, just using the virtual lenses to access the metaverse. Now, I'm saying in the next couple of years, we'll be able to jump into the metaverse physically. Now, guys, this is where I'll be ending my presentation for today. My final thought for you guys is from my research, from the research center, we've seen that the metaverse has an opportunity to offer profound solution, especially for construction safety, because construction safety for us has been an aspect of the construction industry where they've done a lot of research. In short, I remember even while I was in high school, I started seeing publications on construction safety. And now I'm done with my PhD. People are still researching on construction safety and they're still asking that on site. Metaverse training is a key for us to stop that. It's an opportunity for us to embrace, but this is coming with a lot of challenge, even for us as a research center. We've seen challenge with training our students, especially most of our students that have a background with quantity surveying, building surveying, real estate. it comes to training them with these technologies. Guys, thank you guys for having me. Thank you for listening, guys. Do you have any questions? I'm open to questions, guys. Thank you.
I think Doctor deserves several rounds of applause in whatever emotion you can use. Doctor, we really want to thank you for this. Despite the hitches we had, it has been interesting all the way. I want to assume I'm speaking for a lot of people because it's been very, very interesting and fun feeling. At this point, I would like to make a little digression. Doctor,
Yes.
we would love if we could have your LinkedIn handle. We don't know if you're on LinkedIn, so we could connect with you and follow up with your research. That's a little digression. Okay, so please, if we have questions.
No problem. I'll put my LinkedIn in the chat.
Okay, thank you for that. So if we have questions, either you signify by raising your hand if you want to speak, or you can put them in the chat box. So the floor is open for questions. Okay, we already have one. You can unmute yourself, please.
Good evening, Doc.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Yeah, like this is very, very interesting and enlightening. I don't know. Is there a way that we, if there's somebody who wants, if we want to learn hands-on, have a hands-on knowledge of this metaverse and how to go about it, is there a way you can organize a formal training for us or something?
Okay, thank you very much. Presently working on a book. Most of you are familiar with Professor. We are trying to probably next year might be coming into South Africa physically to do a basic training on using some of the engines, some of the softwares for Metaverse. We'll be starting with Unity because from our discussion, most students already know how to use Revit, which is for BIM. So we'll be starting with Unity, and I'll be introducing what I'm passionate about, real estate for Python. Also, probably some other time, if the organizers, I can come back again and do some formal training for the Metaverse application. Hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you, Doc. We'll be willing to bring you back soonest as when it's convenient for you. Just let us know. We'll bring you back.
Okay, no problem.
I second that. I second that.
No problem. No problem. No problem. But that's the training. When we organized the training, it was a boot camp and it took almost a whole week. So I don't know how we'll be able to figure out that training within 30 minutes or 40 minutes because somebody asked a good question, which is what is this minimum system requirement required to run basic programs? Now, it depends on the programs you want to run, that different. But one of them is your laptop must have a graphics card. Now, that different graphics card build depending on the program. So that is always the issue when it comes to this training. Now, it's an hands-on training, meaning as I'm doing it on my side, you'll be able to do it on your side. And the reason why I wanted to make it physical is there's an opportunity for students to get some advanced computers at the UJ Research Center organized by Prof. Clinton in Bountain Road. So there'll be an opportunity for that. So that is the shortcoming. Even my computer I'm using to present now for you guys because I'm at home now, it cannot run most of the softwares I've explained to you guys. It does not have any other question?
Okay, there is a question in the chat box. from Ima. He said, it's actually interesting to know that things will be easily monitored and work done seamlessly and effectively, but how cost effective will this be? That's his question.
Thank you very much, Ima. I will answer using the training. Now, for the skill training which we organize, initially, we kind of program it that it will be live, meaning once my student wants to jump into the metaverse or the virtual world, no, let me call it metaverse, I also jump in. It kind of creates time cost on my own side. So what we use to cut the cost is recording it on the blockchain. So when it comes to cost effectiveness, it's cost effective in the sense that those training, my students technically do not need to leave their room or wherever they are for them to jump on those training. The only cost is the cost of acquiring either your laptop or your glass, your virtual reality lenses. That's just the cost. And we, as a research center, we cannot control that cost.
Okay.
Any other question?
Any other question, please? Okay, I'm assuming there is no other question. I stand corrected.
Okay, yeah. Fortune said there are people too in Nigeria. Fortune said there are people too in Nigeria. He said there are people too in Nigeria. Yes. But that is still because the plan was to touch not just South Africa, it will be Nigeria and Ghana. So for Nigeria, it will be University of Lagos. To do the training in University of Lagos, then proceed to Ghana. So for the people in Nigeria, it will be University of Lagos. For the people in South Africa, it will be my alma mater, University of Johannesburg. Any other question?
So I believe in the absence of any other question, with that last bit of info, Doctor, we really like to appreciate you for coming to increase our knowledge this evening. It's been quite interesting. I think time spent with you has not been a waste. It's been highly enlightening.
Thank you guys.
I really appreciate you, and we wish you so much success in your research. And we hope to keep up with it and see the good things come out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
So,
Bye.
ladies and gentlemen, with this, we come to the end of today's session. August is here. We'll be having another wonderful session in August. Stay tuned through the normal channels. You get the information. With that, I say good evening to all of you and have a wonderful evening.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.